Don, you made a very good point about this power struggle. And in fact, this whole power struggle not just exists in family, it's our whole entire structure, right? It stems from, from the top all the way down. And Marshall Rosenberg, he wrote this about nonviolent communication, and he talks about that, we should redistribute out the power, and that starts with the language that we use. And one of the main important thing that he said is, we need to identify our needs, because our needs are not identified or correctly identified. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs says the same thing, about, meeting your shelter, and stuff like that. How much are we actually meeting the child's needs? Can you elaborate on that, on, how we can actually meet the child's needs? Because obviously, what you said made so much sense, but how do we actually do it on a day-to-day?
That's a hard question. Basically, if you study Maslow's hierarchy, the word hierarchy means there are different levels, right? But Maslow's hierarchy, a lot of people have drawn it as a pyramid. They think that it's basic needs, food, shelter, and then later on the psychological needs that get higher and higher until you reach self-actualization. But a better way of looking at Maslow's needs is a ladder, where you can touch different rungs at the same time. And your needs don't have to be fully met before you go up or down. They can be partially met. That's why we can be very adaptable. So for a child's need to be met, you have to know the child. You have to not just know the child, you have to work at being available for the child, to show up for the child, to advocate for the child. And imagine if the child changes authority figures or caregivers so often that there is no basis for a long-term relationship. Will he communicate his needs safely? He wouldn't. He will try to be resilient and try to be strong and try to fit in so that I will not be hurt anymore. Because every time I want to trust this person, he moves on in my life. Probably the most fundamental aspect is for a child to have a consistent caregiver who will show up in his life and to advocate on his behalf. The younger the child, the harder it is to understand a child. So if you have a caregiver that is willing to sacrifice some of the finer things in life, but be present for the child so that she can learn the child's language or he can learn the child's language and to grow up with the child, it is a win for the child. And I think that is a lot of reasons why, the presence of a long-term caregiver, even grandparents and all that, gives the child a lot of stability, because the child is able to feel that there is a person who I can depend on for my needs. And sometimes I may not be able to communicate everything, but she gets it. She knows that if I say this, it means I want food. So we have to start from those basic building blocks and slowly coach the child to communicate at a level that more people can understand. That's what we want to empower the child with: better language in a way that more people can understand, and therefore we create devices even for children whose communication are not so good, right? We have color codes, we have sign language, anything to enable that the child can be empowered so that more people can help.